This is the Blender review for the Blender Challenge toys. I didn't get a chance to participate in this particular challenge, but if you've ever or never done a Blender Challenge, at least with me before, I'll leave you the link in the description for the zerobio Discord. And along the way, people post their whips, as they're working through something related to the challenge, whatever the topic was. In this case, it was toys. So whatever you think of that is related to that, and you post your works in progress, and people comment and stuff, and then you get to the texturing phase, and people talk about their materials, whether they're doing the materials in Blender or in Substance Painter, and eventually you get to the point where you've got it done, and you do a final render or more than one renders, and you post it in the appropriate channel. And then I gather up those final renders, as many of them as I can, and sometimes I miss the odd one, so hopefully I didn't this time. And then I do a video like this, and talk briefly about them. So there aren't too many participants, but I wanted to show you the excellent work that's been done. So here we have some toys, but these are not human toys. These are cat toys, at least as far as I can tell. All right, so this was done in Blender, modeled in Blender, and I believe it was all textured in Blender. And I think this person is known for doing that and creating really cool normal maps that can be used in Blender as well. So here we have some various things that cats would need. I don't have cats. I have had cats in the past. I'm not that familiar with this stuff, but we'll have a couple of looks at these. The textures are just really beautiful. You can almost feel the texture of the wall here, and of course the rope. Again, it looks like real rope, but this is done, as far as I know, with normal maps and possibly node work in Blender. Maybe it's an image texture, but I don't think so. But I don't know. Maybe that person will chime in and tell us. But some nice sort of plasticky wood, and all the attention to detail, which this person is really known to do. So very nice and convincing work. And look at that. Okay. Just really, really nice sort of tactile textures, if you could call it that. And this is a toy thermometer. I don't know if a thermometer actually would be a toy exactly, but it's along that line, especially if this was mercury. It might be alcohol, but it looks like a metal. But anyways, some very nice modeling and texturing work on this, and the colors, and just the way this is sort of beat up and grunged up to make it look like it's used and it's been around, or maybe exposed to the elements. I feel like this would be something that you would put on the window of a kid's room, and as they learn to read the temperature. All right, and we can see it's in Celsius. All right, so yeah, so very nice work, and you can see even the height details along here in this pattern. Very cool. Okay, some kind of a drone. Again, the neat thing about the whips part of these challenges is that you can see these things as they're being developed. So saw a number of iterations of this before the person decides on the final render. And I only have one, unfortunately. I wish I had different views of this. But you can see here, I guess, the grass and the flowers. This is all going to be done in Blender. And so, I mean, it looks sort of like a photograph, right? But done in Blender. And then you've got the drone itself, and you've got the effects, looking like these are spinning around and caught with a very high frame rate, sort of still, but with a bit of the blur. And the drone itself, and then the landing pad, and it's not just a circle. You can see how it's bent and stuff, as if it's, it's one of those things that you throw on the lawn and you try to get the drone to land on it. So really nice modeling and texturing job on all of these, really. One thing I wish that I could do, that I did a little bit of back in the day when I was using Lightwave 3D, is character modeling, and I haven't really had the time. But here you can see an individual who really has done a lot of work on characters. So we've got, I don't know if this is a chessboard or a checkerboard or just some kind of a tile pattern, playing with these soldiers. Many of them, lined up in the same pose, but we have the different poses, and even just the way they are lined up, from the tallest, and then shrinking down a little bit to down on one knee, and a couple of toppled over individuals. So, and again, some of them are different. This guy's got the sword, he's holding it out like that, and this guy's holding the sword with two hands out in front. So yeah, just fantastic work, and the coloring as well. And I have another image too. So with the really nice backlighting down on the level of the soldiers. Isn't that great? Yeah, I am envious. Somehow photographs snuck into this. I guess I said that to the individual that posted this because it does look like a photograph, from the wood floor and the trim and the very typical kind of wall colors that you would see in a nice modernish house, and the curtains and the light, and then you've got the track here. So a lot of attention to detail. I can't really zoom in on these very easily, but hopefully you can see the controllers and all of the different parts of the track, and then the vehicles going around. I mean, it's a nice big track. That would be my kids would just absolutely love this, but the room would be a lot messier. All right, so that's very nice. And then you have a few others, and they might actually have been done by the same person, but if not, they're along the same sort of line, the same kind of theme. Again, this is toys, and we've all had this kind of stuff, and my kids have this kind of stuff, and I'm sure those of you that have kids, yours do too. But it's not just this stuff, which is sort of the focal point. You've also got those. I can tell you exactly how much that costs, at least at by Walmart, because I bought numerous ones, and the plastic bins, for the toy room. Oh, they've got a little, looks like an air conditioner as well. Lucky kids, and a very neat room. But anyways, this looks like a lot of fun too, and nicely. You just want to drive up this and go over this nice bridge and down and visit the bank, and then around the trees, and we'll have a little closer look at a pig. I was going to say the people. And we've got the magnetic trains with a little bit of damage on it too, by the way. Notice those things. And of course you've got the depth of field, the depth of focus as well on this. So very cool. Yeah, there's the people waiting at, what's that, the fire station? Yeah. And they're shaped differently too. All right, this one versus this one, isn't that cute? Yep, we've all got some experience with this kind of thing as well. So I like the wood on this. I really like. I mean, it's not just a block with things cut out, but look at how it stitches together, and the nice grain of the wood. So there's definitely been a lot of experience and time spent on getting the wood to look right here, and the lighting is really nice too, to show off the grain of the wood on all of this stuff. So that's all part of it. I mean, it's one thing to do the modeling, which can be challenging enough, and that's the basis of the whole thing. And then you've got the textures, but in order to get the textures to look good and to be satisfying, you need the lighting. So it really is a challenge, and hence the name, a Blender Challenge. And it can be frustrating, and it can take many iterations and many hours to get something that you think looks really good, until you get really experienced and can do it almost without thinking. But it does take a lot of effort, and it's appreciated, and I hope you appreciate it too by watching this video and liking it, and maybe leaving a comment and showing your support of these people. This is so cool. Again, I mean, it's the modeling is really nice and clean. It's very pleasing, and to see these lights, I do have a tendency myself, as you may know, to go a little overboard with emissions, or maybe more than a little. But this is very nicely controlled, and this is such a cute character, and this is a nice, fun scene where these are randomly placed, lit up, not lit up. I don't know a lot about this. I want to say the name Pokemon, but what do I know about this stuff? Anyways, very cool. And here's some more characters. Now, I don't know too much because I wasn't involved in this challenge. I was busy doing other things. I did watch some of them develop, but I don't always get the backstory of how they're being modeled and what the history is and why they're done. I just often come around, I see the odd whip, and I see the final renders. And then I just, which is a nice way of doing it too, because then I just get to appreciate the final result. And this looks very cute and very nice, and nicely done with the modeling of the pipe, the magnifying glass, and the character, of course, and the colors that are chosen, and the way it's set up, and the way it's presented. Okay, and I think I have another one here of a different cool character. Maybe you know the story of these. Maybe they are some kind of cartoon character or animated thing that I'm just not familiar with. But it doesn't matter to me where they're from. I just get to appreciate the final look. And I like the glossiness of this jacket. I mean, it feels like a plasticky leather versus the more grainy fabric of the hat. So yeah, really cute. And here we have Robbie the robot. I don't know if that's supposed to indicate both of them or if they're two different ones, but I think this is also, I keep saying the word cute, because we're talking toys, but nicely modeled, and it's just so different, that the texturing style that we have here. I don't know what you would call that. I'm going to say cartoonish, or vectorish. Those probably aren't the right words to apply to this, but very nice to have two different robots, and then to have the posters or the sort of like schematics in behind in this pristine room and with this nice lighting. So that's really, really nicely done as well, as you can see. And I think we all had something like this when we were young, depending, I guess, how old you are and whether or not you're going to remember these old sort of rotary phones. But yeah, this is definitely, with the plastic, I can almost feel how squishy some of these things. I know you'd have to have relatively hard wheels, but that plastic that you can just squish and it'll make a little funny sound. Or maybe you can push these eyes in or this nose and it'll do something. Yeah, that's another very cute toy in that category. It fits perfectly. And in here we have almost what looks like a sci-fi kind of room with this kind of a table. I would have loved to have that kind of table. You've got a ship of some sort on here, and you've got a robot in behind, and I'm not sure if that's an HDRI or maybe someone even took a picture out of their room at that. But that's very, very cool. I guess there's a book that comes with the robot, tells you how to operate the robot. I think this individual has a thing these days, anyhow, for making ships, if I'm thinking of the right person. So I wouldn't be surprised that this shows up here. Toys. Yeah, and I do remember having something like this when I was young. So this is a nicely modeled Viewmaster. Front and back views with the little wheels that had the pictures, and you would press the button and it would advance it a little bit, and you'd look through, and those were very cool, and you could get all kinds of different themes on these things. But I mean, a very nice model, as you can see, and nicely textured. I believe this is textured in Substance Painter, and it's got that characteristic sort of dirt around the plastic or the glass, and just the way the edges are highlighted and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I like that look very much, and this is very convincing as a plastic kind of device that's been sitting around and used quite a bit. Really cool stuff. And unless I missed somebody, that's all that I have in this particular challenge. And so I want to say thank you very much for those of you that did go through the challenge and submit a render. And I'm sorry that I wasn't part of this one. And if you'd like to be a part of a future Blender challenge, I don't have one in mind right now. I've got various other things on the go for my YouTube channel, but I will have another Blender challenge, and all we do is it's open to anybody. All right, you could be a beginner in Blender, you could be more advanced, and the idea is you model in Blender, and if you can texture in Blender or do materials, then great. But if you want to use Substance Designer, Substance Painter, something else, that's no problem. We bring it back into Blender and we show it off. We render it generally in Blender, although I don't know that that's absolutely critical. It's more for modeling, but rendering in Blender would be nice as well. And along the way, you show what you're working on if you want to. and you can get some feedback, and everyone pats you on the back. And we have a deadline. It's usually 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. And I usually will participate as well. So let's say the next challenge is, I don't know, sci-fi hospital or something, if that makes sense. We announce the topic, and then people go off and start doing stuff, and I usually will do something as well. And what I think of might be an operating room, and someone else might think of the morgue or the hallway or something, something related to the theme. And if I do it, then sometimes people will follow me because they're learning Blender or whatever, and that's fine too. We end up getting a bunch of very similar images, but with their own materials and their own angles and lighting, and or you go off in your own direction related to the challenge, and then I do a render review. There's no winners, there's no losers, there isn't any prize money, but we do it just to showcase our work and to the sense of community and to support each other and to enjoy doing Blender. So yeah, we'll have to do another challenge sometime soon. So thank you very much for watching this video and for supporting these people. And I'll leave the link to the zerobio Discord. There are some of the old challenges still posted there, and there's an ongoing discussion, and I try to show up every day or so, and I don't really run the place. The people that are regulars there pretty much run the place. So thank you for your support, and thanks for your support on my YouTube channel as well, for subscribing to the channel and for helping it grow, and for all the great things that you're saying about my teaching. I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome, and that's why I do it. All right, we'll see you again soon. Take care.